Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to a deep dive. Today we're digging into the sometimes complicated journey behind getting some really crucial big machines. We're talking about the yellow machines for road construction over in Liberia, and if you've been following this, you might have seen some different reports flying around.
Yes, exactly. And that's sort of where we come in today. We're looking at insights from a recent article that details what's actually happening right now, with the government's effort to get this equipment.
Right, because there's been chatter online, hasn't there,
Mm.
about machines already being bought.
Mm-hmm.
But this source, it focuses on a very specific trip, one that's happening like now.
That's the key thing. It tells us Liberia's vice president, Jeremiah Kipankong, he's leading a delegation. It's multi-agency. You've got Public Works, GSA, Ministry of Finance folks. They're all in China.
Okay, so why China? What's the mission?
Well, the article makes it really clear. It's about verification, physical and technical. They're literally on the ground checking out 3 different companies. And these companies submitted unsolicited bids. It's that crucial due diligence phase.
Unsolicited bids, huh? So these weren't necessarily invited companies. They just put their hands up.
Pretty much, yeah. They put themselves forward to supply these, vital machines.
That makes this trip even more important, then, doesn't it?
Definite.
It's not just routine. It's like kicking the tires on firms you might not know that well.
Exactly right. And the source really highlights this. They're there to assess the quality of the equipment, also the manufacturer's capacity, like can they actually produce enough?
Makes sense.
And their overall production standards, are they up to scratch? They need to be sure these companies can deliver reliable machines and on the scale needed. The article even mentions a visit to the Sani Group in Changsha.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and the company's VP apparently emphasized their global experience, their interest in partnering with Liberia.
That kind of physical check, seeing the factory, the standards, that feels incredibly important, especially like you said with those earlier online reports.
Mm-hmm.
The article points out claims were floating around suggesting, over 200 machines had already been acquired?
And this trip, this current verification process, it directly addresses that, doesn't it?
Seems like it.
By detailing what the delegation is doing now on the ground, the source kind of clarifies things. It shows the procurement process is still very much happening step by step, helps clear the air amidst those, public questions that came up before, shows the structured approach.
Yeah, it really highlights the gap between, say, an online claim or maybe an early announcement and the actual, sometimes pretty long, detailed work needed for these huge government buys.
And huge
Yeah.
is the word. Let's talk money for a sec.
Right, the budget.
The government set a $22 million cap for this.
Wow. $22 million.
Yeah. That level of public money, it absolutely demands this kind of thorough, verifiable process, that the kind the article describes. This trip is a key part of making sure that money is spent well on good equipment.
Absolutely. And the source also says the final decision isn't made on this trip, right?
Correct. That authority stays back home with the Ministry of Public Works. The delegation's job is basically to gather the critical info, the verification data that Public Works needs to make the call.
So it's like a vital checkpoint, not the finish line.
Exactly.
So what is this whole journey? I mean, you've got unsolicited bids, a high-level team flying halfway across the world for inspections, managing public perceptions, working within a budget. What does it all tell us?
Well, I think it shows that getting critical infrastructure stuff, especially with serious public money involved, it's complex, it's multi-layered. You're balancing technical needs, financial limits, and this really crucial on-the-ground checking. It's often way more involved than just picking a supplier.
Right. It's not just about choosing from a catalog. It's about seeing if they can actually deliver, beat the standards, handle the scale. Direct inspection.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the final thought for you listening is this. What does this kind of intense, international, multi-agency effort really signal about due diligence at this scale? When we're talking about millions, potentially billions, and something as vital as national roads. And how does that need for a careful, visible, maybe slower process sometimes clash with how fast information or maybe misinformation travels today? Something to think about as this develops.